Again? I can't believe this shit.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Still no word, I'm afraid, sir. I know it must be frustrating. What's 57th?
In the cabin, you
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
There it is again, that spectral smell haunting this industrial harbor. And it smells like heavy fuel oil mostly, because it's an industrial harbor. Years of turmoil, of hopes and dreams, ground beneath the inexorable tides of capital. Can you smell it now? You inhale. The cilia along your olfactory epithelium tingle with excitement as they sift through the swirling morass of industrial odors. First come the smells of the agitated strikebreakers, layers of body oil and sweat, over-buttered meals pulled from bake-like lunch pails, the biting stench of lye soap. And then there's the slowly oxidizing metal gates, the scent of stale grease emanating from every crack.
Still smelling for communists, detective? No offense, detective, but you are not particularly subtle.
The lieutenant's right. It's sort of amazing how unsubtly you're sniffing the air around you. Almost like you're trying to call attention to yourself. What the lieutenant thinks is irrelevant. Your politico-olfactory cortex is lighting up like a holiday display. Look, it's pointing you right to that railing over there. Yes, now's your chance to establish contact.
Hola, wandering man. How can I help you? What's that, boy, yeah?
Now's your chance. Remember, communists are notoriously skittish, so it's best to insinuate your way in.
Don't think I've ever met a Kras personally. Then again, I've never been to Gran. Could be coming from one of the jam lorries. Cargo's been sitting out for a while.
Okay, maybe it's time to abandon the subtle approach.
Ah, now I see. Can't say I'm surprised. You seem to take your communism seriously. Not a bad thing, mind you. It's good for a man to take time to think about the whole socio-political world picture.
Oh, he certainly likes to take his time with things, especially when politics are at issue.
So you've given up copying and now you're hunting comunistas. Care to say why? A fellow plains roamer in search of greater understanding. A classic story. I wish I could help. Unfortunately, I don't know many comunistas. Some are, some aren't. It's a big institution, room for all kinds. Comunistas, Seminist supremacists, even an anti-institutional boyadero.
There is warmth in his voice when he talks about the Union. Whatever his personal politics, this is his home. All right, so if he isn't personally a communist, he's definitely hanging out with them.
Ah, but you know, I did meet a genuine ideologo a few months ago. Perhaps he's your guy. Didn't say anything about his name. Wasn't this sort of encounter where names matter? You know, a guy with a theory. Someone who likes to pit his theory against other theories in deadly theory combat. It was late one night as I was leaving the arbor. He was waiting on the corner in a bright white jacket. Classic Saramirizian style. He asked me for a light. We shared cigarettes. Then he asked me if I ever thought about getting into some of the extra physical branches of communism. The same thing I always tell people who try to press some claim on me. I said, every boyadero rides alone. I couldn't tell you. Once I declined his offer, we finished our cigarettes and he disappeared back into the night. Just before he melted into the shadows, he turned to me and said, "Remember Dobrava and Abadanais." And then he was gone. I don't know. Guess not everyone remembers. Been wondering about that myself. Some comunista inside talk could be. Not meant for the wider public. They love that kind of thing. You'd have to ask someone who knows the ideologo personally.
Not to interfere in your personal errand, but it might have something to do with that passphrase Cindy mentioned earlier. Of course you were, Detective. Apologies for interrupting.
Just in time. The faithful partner arrives with the key that turns the lock. You two make a good pair. I salute you, boyas, and wish you good fortune on this grand ideological quest.
The man whispers a jaunty tune. A coastal breeze ruffles his hair. The trap stands empty amongst the reeds, powdered with snow. No insect sounds or movement around. Only the reeds' melancholy rustling.
Fantastic.
The locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Good, now that's done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation? Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question.
He doesn't want to, but if there is one more cryptozoological runaround, he must force the investigation back on track. This better be it.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face. Thank you for doing that, dear.
Her smile is weary. Her earlier ebullience has left her.
Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him. I'm sorry, dear. You've had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game, as they say. Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
No, you don't have to do that. Enough of this fool's errand. Morel will do it. Or Gary. You have work to do. I've wasted enough of everyone's time.
Be real. Gary is not going to help with this.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up.
Different? How? I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are a police officer.
And when a police officer asks, you must answer.
Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Seeing the Insulindian phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real or not. Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone.
A terrible sting in the heart. Regret.
No, sweetie. There's more to it than that. Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the phasmid's existence, that I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. that. And for years, his belief made me believe too. But now, we're both getting old, and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was.
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything.
Of course not. I didn't mean to say my situation discredits the field. There have been some confirmed discoveries, and a lot of hoaxes too, but still.
Rising, unfolding from the reeds on a hot summer's day, like a benevolent god.
Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary. Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad.
Really?
Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel. Likewise, sweetie. Thank you for everything. Truly. Even though it turned out to be a
dream. Like that, she drives off. The gas engine sputters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, it's snowing.
We should go too.
Its draw has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. And, as it's always been, it's impossible to open a container with rhetoric. Maybe you're losing your mind. The door is closed again. Nothing to do here anymore. You hear someone inside, walking from room to room. Whoever lives here must be back home. The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding. A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Wonderful choice, sir. A wholesome family game.
In your hands, you hold a brand new copy of the game, Suzerainty. It's snugly wrapped in a skin of plastic. The cover features a charming illustration depicting a mass of grinning laborers loading goods onto a ship, while a richly dressed administrator oversees their work. The exact location and time period are left deliberately vague, but it's clearly meant to represent the economic relationship between the Revacholian suzerainty and its many vassals. The box has a nice heft to it. You hear the rattle of individual wooden tokens and feel their weight shifting back and forth. What treasures wait in store for you? Even before you open it, you can tell that this will be a meaty game of grand strategy and complex player interactions. The plastic wrap rips off as easily as a bodice in a tawdry historical romance. There's a hiss as the lid slides off. Inside, you find a thick, full-color rulebook and more than a dozen pouches of various wooden components. Welcome to Suzerainty, a game of economic strategy for the whole family. The rulebook is sumptuously illustrated and thick as a Gradian novel. The colorful illustrations depict cheerful workers picking apricots, hauling marble sculptures out of crumbling temples, and harvesting a strange magenta-leafed plant. Everyone is smiling. You begin to suspect there may be a political agenda to this so-called family game. Only one way to find out. The instructions are opaque at first and introduce many concepts you're not familiar with. Fortunately, there are many diagrams and examples throughout. You soon figure out the basic conceit. Each player represents an administrator for the suzerain of Revachol. Your objective is to increase the suzerain's wealth and renown by accumulating victory points. That's where the suzerain's vassals come in. The game features 4 vassal nations, each one home to an economically important resource. Each turn, the player collects resources from vassals where they've placed workers. They may then rearrange their workers, fulfill contracts for coin and bonuses, or build structures back in Revachol. As you leaf through the pages, your eye catches on a sidebar labeled Advice for Beginners. Remember, there are many paths to victory in suzerainty, but successful players will find one strategy and commit to it wholeheartedly. The actual scoring system appears infinitely complex, with a series of tables and appendices required to compute each player's final victory point total. You skip that part for now. You open up a number of pouches containing wooden tokens. There are also several punch boards with other cardboard components that will need to be punched out before you can play. In addition to the worker and building tokens used by each player, there are also several piles of colorful resource tokens, each representing one of the game's 4 principal resources. From the Empire of Safre, orange apricot tokens. From Ilmarat, the ancestral name of Ilmara, gray marble block tokens. From the Semenine Islands, white sacks of sugar tokens. And from Supramuindi and Sarah Maritza, magenta tokens for unprocessed cocaine leaves.
Oh, those are nice.
Each cardboard token makes a satisfying tsk as you pop it out. Soon, a neat pile of cardboard coins and counters has accumulated before you.
What? You're not going to offer to let me punch any of them out?
You hold the open game box before you. The lieutenant looks over the rulebook before he sees something that makes his eyes go wide.
Holy shit. The average playing time for this game is 1 to 6 hours. I'm not sure we can afford to set aside that kind of time for a game. Yes?
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. A star that fell from the firmament? Those cost more than 7 real. Are you sure? Alright, maybe some other die then? Ah, yes, Fortress Accident. It's too bad they never finished their game. The Wiro Untethered die is a variation of a standard role-playing die, only instead of plants it uses motifs of ice and death, and loss of course.
Ice, death, loss. Sounds like you.
I'm thinking something made from alligator jawbone, cast in black resin. The reptile bone is as white as ice and dead as, well, death. For 7 real, I could have it ready in 8 hours. It's an icositetrahedron, a 24-sided die that can produce results for 2-sided, 3-sided, 4-sided, 6-sided, and 12-sided die with a single roll. Technically, you can also use it for many other sizes, but you may need to reroll results.
Loving it. So nifty.
Maybe you have some other ideas for dice? What do you mean by cursed? Alright, how about I surprise you? Come back in 8 hours with 7 real, and I'll give you your cursed die. Maybe you have some other ideas for dice? A star that fell from the firmament? Those cost more than 7 real. Are you sure? Yes, you definitely have the proper attitude. How about a pair of 100-sided dice, made of ivory and inlaid with lodestone, a naturally occurring magnet, to complement your magnetic personality?
Pieces of lodestone were used as the first magnetic compasses, from which they derived their other name, course stones. That's a stone for leaders.
10 real, and I can get these ready in 8 hours. Great, see you in 8 hours then. Was there anything else?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here. She has begun to idly clean one of her carving tools with a dirty kerchief.
Hello again, esteemed officer. Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Go, go! Get back there. The books await you. Everything is on the shelves. Take a look yourself. The shelves compel you, don't they?
She's attempting to mentally direct you towards the shelves. She only wants you to buy the goods. She doesn't care about the books.
Truth be told, not really. My sister brings in most of the goods. I'm sure it's all very literary stuff with well-written prose. But you don't learn about the important things in life from fabricated stories. The truth is available if you just know where to look, and you have to open and free your mind to understand. Truth be told, but you don't learn about the important things in life from fabricated stories. I provide a valuable service. As long as people buy books, I'm fine. The truth is available if you just know where to look, and you have to open and free your mind to understand.
She smiles and nods, seemingly relieved.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabiner do for you? The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. The man says a couple of sentences in that strange language of his and then seems to wait for you to speak. I'm pretty sure he asked you a question. He doesn't know your language. You can just say something cool in return. Horse need more vodka?
Okay, so it's vodka that keeps the men happy and in good spirits. Clever move by the Union.
Vodka Borscht! I love it, Bratan! Turn it the fuck up and then ask for some yourself.
Turning it up seems like a dangerous idea. Honestly, the place is a powder keg. The cook gives you a long, disappointed look, then turns the stove off and seems to wait for you to speak.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
As you look around this room full of sweaty men, swearing, drinking, spitting out tobacco, does this look familiar? You believe the place was called Precinct 41. It was also filled with, almost exclusively, men, sitting on desks, talking shit and wasting time. You seen Apricot, old Purdue's daughter? Asks Lieutenant McCoy. Replies Torson. The ass on that one. McCoy shakes his head in appreciation. A bit strange the old man named her Apricot, but, I mean, who am I to judge? Wanna hit the kebab joint?
Huh? You got a problem with beer now?
Not quite there yet. Push on.
You saying we don't help people? I've been doing this job for 10 years. Martinez was a dump before we put this outfit together.
They don't know, man. They weren't here. We had 3 shootings a week, kids dead, fucking graffito everywhere. You cops haven't shown up since the 30s.
Congratulations on the graffiti removal. All I see is you sitting around talking about Monica's titties while there's a rape victim.
So what? What do you want from me? We took care of that fuck.
Don't let him drink that. One more push. Quick. Just don't antagonize him. You have this already.
Titus?
She stops mid-sentence. That's it. You got him. He's going to give it up, but on his terms.
You wanna help her, cop? Fine. I'm gonna let you help her, but you treat her with respect. If you don't, if you question her, harass her, a freight train of pain, buddy.
What is her name?
Glacia, I'm on due. She's staying here at the Whirling in Rags, a real pretty one. Silvery jumpsuit, blonde. That's Amonju with an O-U.
Shit. The girl. The girl upstairs? That can't be her. She knows you drank so hard you forgot you were a cop.
Oh, it's her! It's definitely her! It's Miss Oranje, disco dancer!
Yeah. Blonde. Tall. 2 rooms over from yours.
You inexplicably add cool after the victim's name, with your eyes bulging like some wild beast. Your fingers are fidgeting and sweat starts forming on your brow as Titus looks at you oddly.
I don't understand what's so cool here.
Nothing. We just have a few more questions. Then we'll be on our way.
Whatever you do, do not tell him you know her. That would sound off. Calm. Normal. Try to forget this little hiccup.
Relationship? There was no fucking relationship. He raped her. That's their relationship.
Something is off here. His anger is possessive.
Was like that karaoke incident all over again. Or like some of the other girls he was harassing.
Okay, enough. All of this is irrelevant to your stated investigation.
He did it before we killed him. He's not gonna do it again. So what does it matter?
It would help if we establish a timeline.
All right. 2 weeks, maybe? I don't know. I need another beer.
Here you go, boss.
Remember what I said. Freight train of pain.
Officer, what was that? Yes. Yes. The victim? Is there something I should know before we talk to her?
Whatever you do, don't say the first thing.
Understood. You were not in good shape on Monday. Okay, that's manageable. This is unprofessional. Not sharing information with me is unprofessional.
His opinion of you has lowered considerably.
Yes?
The door is closed.
Who is it?
This is the police. Can we come in?
Come on up. The door is open. I'm trying.
Sounds like it's coming from upstairs somewhere. You could snoop around before going up.
Welcome to the roof.
Her hair is still slick from the shower. Below her silvery jumpsuit, an athletic young body, built long and lean.
I'm sorry for the mess down there. The cleaning lady hasn't come by in days. I'm beginning to wonder if she ever will. It's much nicer now.
Where the dead body used to hang, clearly visible from the roof, but no longer.
Thank you for that, officers. Truly.
There is something in her light brown eyes, a sadness, when she thinks about the death of that man.
Right.
I'm Kim Kitsuragi. I'm a detective from Precinct 57. I see you've already met my colleague.
Have I ever? Have you grown accustomed to your role as a police officer? Like riding a coppercycle.
Miss, we are investigating the murder of the man down there. The people who put him there have asked us to talk to you.
Huh. I see.
Be careful. Ask something else first. When you go there, use words like, I hear you have been through something difficult.
Clasier Amandu. Vredefort, Republic of Oranje.
Wasn't the tattoo on the hanged man an Oranese map of the waterways? The thought begins to form in your head, then dissipates. Something for later.
A bad memory, officer. of lilacs and lightning, parks, glass, duraluminium. Fredefort is a conference city. It's always autumn there. A night. At least it was for me.
What's so bad about that?
Nothing, if you're no longer there. I'm 28. Something stupid.
Wanna hear what's stupid? Somewhere in a one-room apartment on Boogie Street, a young man shows Patrol Officer Tilbrook his genital warts, asking if they're cancer. His partner, Emil Mullins, can't be there. He's in another apartment with another man who's showing him a dead dog under the radiator. It's dead, Mullins says. No, the man replies. I touched him. He's warm. He's warm, Mullins replies, because he's under the radiator.
Oranese lit. Oranese literature. It's what I studied at the university. Fear of failure, fear of death, how it sucks to be Oranese. All national literatures are. Only the name of the nation changes.
If that's true, then Revacholian lit would fit you like a glove.
Nothing. I do nothing with it. Cool. I've made more money by just being than I have with Oranese lit. Many things. A roller skating instructor, a secretary, Miss Oranje 37.
It's the world's most tired smile. Of course she won a beauty pageant. She's very symmetrical.
I'm afraid you can't, officer.
Why is that?
Because it's buried in a sealed plastic bag at an undisclosed location on the coast, along with cash and airline tickets.
Thank you for your candor. Why?
They say so in your tourist brochure. Keep travel documents away from your person when west of the river. Okie dokie. The record. So official. Yeah, it's pretty deluxe.
No one likes to talk about their dirty laundry and their empty bottles. Maybe if you phrase it emotionally.
I'm wintering.
How long have you been staying here?
About 4 months. I came in November.
The bills downstairs concur.
Here in the Whirling, here in Martinez, or here in Revachol? I heard this is where the washed-up disco has-beens go.
She looks at you and nods.
Yeah, I've contaminated it pretty bad. The contamination spreads from room to room. First, I escaped upstairs. The SAD got that too. Then I found the handle for the summer door. For me, it's a mix of me with a lack of cleaning services. How about you? Don't be alarmed, but Mr. Gart implied there's an industrial SAD spill in there.
Somewhere below, military-grade SAD is dripping off the walls. You should say the first thing. It's honest. It will lead to introspection.
That's where it always comes from, isn't it? From the head and from the past. Sounds like an advanced form of what I've got, with a bit of old love sprinkled on top. Love is terror. Okay.
Watching herself reflected in the bedroom window, tall and sparkling and draped in smoke.
Something difficult? I've been through at least half a dozen difficult things. Which one do you mean? It's a bit early in the morning for rape.
She sounds positively buoyant, vivacious, totally unbothered.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with not raped. I can't say that stuff about him. Tell them it's not my style. They'll have to, if they want to jazz up the charges, they'll have to get someone more, rapeable.
By they, she means the Hardy Boys.
Are you saying that you were asked to tell us you were assaulted?
Not explicitly, but I understood what they meant. It wouldn't hurt to spice things up a bit. Some assault and battery. Sexual assault, maybe. It was clear the latter would be spicier. Pretty much.
Warming them.
I'm 89% sure. You know how it is.
Do you?
Maybe you don't.
There are numerous cigarette burns on those silvery scales. Easy to see now that you're closer.
In conclusion, officer, I'm gonna go with a mild to medium not raped here. Let me make this 100% clear then, officer. I was not sexually assaulted. Would I be as flippant if I had been?
You get the feeling she might be.
We partied. We drank, sir. A lot. For weeks, basically. We had that effect on each other. We made each other drink harder. That's why I liked him.
What else?
Stimulants. Speed also has that effect, making you drink harder. And then drinking harder makes you do more speed. It's quite the combination. We also had sex. A little. The drugs were good enough, and we did enough of them.
How did you two meet?
Downstairs, at the bar. He was on some sort of assignment, a military man, as you probably know. Had a cool, scary scar.
She appears aloof, but that scar part, the scary, is stressed and drawn out. What's that about? Apprehension? With longing. She misses him.
When was this?
A month ago? Something like that. Oh, yes. I've had a great view. From the roof, out of the bathroom window, in my dreams.
You called us, the RCM.
Yes.
Jackpot.
I made it. And I would appreciate it if you didn't tell everyone. In Martinez, they call it snitching.
Reporting crimes is confidential in Revachol, miss.
Because I couldn't handle it anymore. None of these people called. He just kept hanging there. Then they started stripping him. I didn't exactly disguise it. I just muffled the mic and nicked the landline a little. With nail clippers. And I diverted some radio fuzz into it, into the cold wire.
So, she's God's mystery foam cutter.
Did I? Fuck. I didn't mean to. I had no idea what I was doing.
Jigsaw falling into place. This is satisfying. Good catch. I appreciate the symmetry. Still, that's pretty clever tempering. Simple and clever. Crossing the lines like that.
Thanks. I don't know, sir. It was stupid. I was drunk, too. I was probably afraid the Union was listening in. Locals say they have ears in the wires.
Thank you for making the call, miss. It was the right thing to do.
I didn't want to, sir. But if I hadn't, he'd still be hanging there. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Not right now. Later, maybe. I keep seeing him. Like he is now. I can't talk about his, I don't know, hair.
I know it's difficult, miss. We can return to it later.
She meant she sees him in her dreams.
You have? Not like I do, I imagine. You don't want to know.
She dips the cigarette in the lighter's flame and inhales, then looks at you with her lungs full of smoke.
I can see the similarity, yes.
Funny.
Funny how?
Nothing. I also saw him. We had a long inspection and that sort of thing sticks with you. Let's move on.
He had something to do with the strike. One has been roiling since I got here. Rotten timing. But you probably know all about it.
And his role in this strike was what?
I think he was in a security detail. He was ex-military, worked for Wild Pines, and against the Union. We didn't discuss work much, if you know what I mean. But I understood it was dangerous.
And they lynched him for it?
She nods.
Bullet? They shot him too? They stripped his clothes and they shot him?
You mean after they hanged him?
I'm confused, sorry.
So am I. Were you aware that he had also been shot, miss?
Things are starting to go a little over my head here. I thought he was hanged. I was not present when they did it. I don't know what happened. I just know what they told me. And Sylvie, the bartender.
This is beginning to get confusing for you too, and we don't like that. Where was she last Sunday night?
Cowering. I was cowering downstairs with Sylvie. They're frequent guests downstairs. They have a booth for Union members. They're probably down there now. Over drinks. It's been a long, boring winter. A little, yeah.
Like you partied with the deceased?
No, not as hard.
I'm sorry to have to ask this, but have you had a physical relationship with any of the Hardy Boys?
I have. Which ones, sir? I don't remember precisely. Titus, obviously. But as I said, it's been a long winter.
Could that have been part of the reason they hanged him?
I hope not. Actually, I know that's not the reason. I'm careful about that kind of thing, not crossing the wires, you know? But that's probably where they got the rape idea. Men like that? I don't know. It's the way their imaginations work. I suspect it's what they'd like to do to me.
She breathes a silvery sigh of relief and weariness. The air on the roof feels humid.
Should we head by downstairs, officer? We may have things to discuss there.
She nods. Silvery cigarette fumes disappear into her mouth.
Yes, you're just one room away. Very personal.
Good, yes. This means she could have heard something, like what you were doing before you blacked out.
You do not need to know that. What you need is to ask normal police questions, like...
Get a grip, he thinks. At least do your personal stuff when I'm not here. Quick, say something professional.
Why not? I'll be here until 11 p.m., drinking coffee, most likely.
Actual art degree. Trite, contrived, mediocre, milquetoast, amateurish, infantile, cliché and gonorrhea-ridden peon to conformism. I fucked me. Affront to humanity. War crime. Should literally be tried for war crimes. Resolutely shit. Lacking in imagination. Uninformed reimagining of. Lip-wristed, premature, ill-informed attempt at. Talentless fuckfest. Recidivistic shit peddler. Pedantic, listless, savagely boring. Just one repulsive laugh after another.
Looks like we have more to discuss with those so-called Hardy Boys. Half their reasoning just went out the window. Nothing will make them respect the RCM, but it will disrupt the game they prepared for us. We just stripped off one layer of whatever it is. Her decision to not corroborate their story was definitely not part of the plan. What else could she have done? Lie? She saw there was no way to lie and get away with it. If not you, then me. It was a smart move from her. You think so? Being candid is the best way to lie. The appearance of candor with some facts thrown in draws attention away from whatever one chooses to omit. She may be trying to control the pace of the investigation. Anyway, we should move. I suspect our inquiries will bring us back here soon enough.
The same small, heavy door. No lock in sight.
I don't know, Lieutenant Yefreiter. It is not the first closed door we found in this building. There is also your mysterious blue kitchen door. I don't know. The further we get, the more this building seems to be tied to the case. The vigilantes, the cadaver, and a number of people connected to the case are in or around this building. This door is part of it. It's not unimportant.
It's barred from the inside. You hear the bar rattle in the brackets. Sounds like it's heavy, too. Very sturdy. Must be something valuable inside to go through the trouble of protecting it. The door is very sturdy indeed. This medicine cabinet is full of wares.
Sheets of pills, haphazardly stacked one on top of the other. There's also a toothbrush somewhere in there. It's been used quite a lot. Pharmaceuticals line the shelves, sheet upon sheet of pill bottle next to pill bottle. Acetylic acid, APAP, eye drops, blood thinners.
Anything of note?
Pill bottles rattle like bones as you search the cabinet. Paracetamol, histoperidol, something in a foreign language you can't read. Behind them, an unusually shaped nasal spray. Its label reads, Nacra. Nacra, this is used to treat opioid overdoses. Always handy to have around.
Interesting. That's used for diamorphine overdoses.
You could say he's on the lookout. Among some foreign, probably Messinian or Gotwaldian, marked red blister packs you find. What do you find? This is going to take a little know-how. This medicine cabinet is stocked with drugs, plus an old toothbrush, and nothing of note. The further you look, the more arcane it gets. You don't know what the rest of this stuff does. The theme on that pinball machine is a standard royalist theme, used on everything from pinball cabinets to full-flavor cigarettes. Clinging to a picture book version of the past century, waiting for the king to come back and cast out all the profiteers and homosexuals. Basically, imagine a yellow plastic crown with a liquor brand emblazoned on it. sentiment is called anti-centennial nostalgia, pining for a time before the turn of the century. It's common even now, after 50 years.
The clowns are still hanging around. What is it now? Fuck! I knew that fucking whore couldn't be trusted.
You've hit a nerve. Titus is furious. No, more than that. The loyal Titus feels betrayed.
For the record, Titus Hardy did not explicitly specify the victim as a whore, nor did he say anything about trusting her.
Oh, shut up and stay out of this, Liz. He raped her. He was out of his fucking mind. You have no idea.
She's just in denial, asshole. You don't understand the traumatic experience. She's shutting down, and she doesn't fucking trust you.
Yeah, she's crazy, you know. A crazy bitch. You know the type. She's fucked up.
This is a diversion. Stay on track.
Lawman, I'm at the end of my goddamn rope with you. I fucking told you not to push her. And you went and pushed her. I am gonna fucking...
Hit you. Duck.
Titus Hardy!
Success. Titus backs off. Fists down, everybody.
Everett personally sent me to take care of this. If this goes south, we'll all be in the shit. But you, Titus Hardy, are going to be buried. Am I understood?
When she's angry, she emphasizes the S. It gives her voice a strangely hypnotic quality. Her lips barely move as she speaks. Frankly, it's a bit terrifying. Someone has to rush in to break the tension. The second in command.
Look, Copper. We know that that fuck was a rapist and a killer. We got him confessing to it on tape. Show it to him, T. What's the harm, right?
Here, jerkwad, listen to this shit. And then come back and tell me the soldier of the apocalypse was an innocent man.
Another apocalyptic actor in town? This is their last play, this tape. Their story is in tatters, a mess. It might be nice to listen to, but at this point, you don't need to.
What's on it? We call it the door gun a mega mix. You'll know why, won't you listen to it? You think we go into this shit deaf and dumb? You RCM aren't the only ones who know how to bug people. There's no university degree for that. We have machines. We're in logistics. How do you think a harbor works? It's advanced stuff.
Understood? You've listened in on their communications. How long?
Since way before their chief started taking swing lessons.
Things got nice and quiet after that.
It's not advanced. You just hold up in a coop all day, writing down what they say. It gets hot as hell in there.
Don't put yourself down, Angus. It's important work.
Yeah, man. You're like a radio genius or something. Those notes are some in-depth stuff. Indexes and shit.
Don't forget your tape, lawman. Compliments of Titus Hardy. You do that. Oh, and keep it. Maybe you'll need a reminder of human ugliness someday.
portal reel is just what you needed. The reels attach to the apparatus with a satisfying click. The tape is routed behind the magnetic reader. You push Command C, and the tape starts spinning. Violent static and machine sounds fill the air.
This isn't Revachol. This is a fucking village. I can almost see the elephants.
The harbor. That's the son of a Kvalson crane.
When this shit is done, I'm gonna tear that place up. Soldier of the Apocalypse style. Kill shit. Dogs and chickens too. Gonna run a room, Cordy. A real nice room. I don't give a shit. I'm fucking done. I'm done mentally. I'll fucking do them all in. Rape that disco cunt on the counter. You know, the dance a whore upstairs. Do it Kohoi style. Never did get that taste out of my mouth.
The lieutenant presses the button marked Arrête on your portal reel. The tape stops spinning.
End of recording. It seemed authentic enough. Probably recorded off the shortwave, then edited to seem more incriminating. He sounded like he was on patrol around the harbor walls. Still,
there's more going on here than we know.
it seemed authentic enough. Indeed, but...
There's more going on here than we know.
Corty could be short for Cortenard, one of the other mercenaries, the one he was talking to. Probably the mountain at the harbor gates. Mr. Right to Work. A village on the Samaran Isola, in South Safre. Grad committed war crimes there, the kind of thing he talks about.
The South Safre conflict is an ongoing proxy war between Grad and Safre. It has been hot for 12 years, with the atrocities piling on, mostly committed by the Grad.
Who knows? Maybe the tattoos would have an answer. We would need to know the story of this man's service.
A symbol of soldier of the apocalypse style conduct in a civil environment.
I think we've got a few more questions for class here, don't you? This seems to contradict her testimony, at least to some degree.
Officer, it's a fine day for questions.
She puts her coffee cup down with a soft ring as the porcelain meets the metal table. This does not surprise her.
Did he? I never said he was a good man, or that he had good intentions, only that he was never bad to me.
She doesn't care. If anything, she sounds amused.
Where did they get this recording exactly?
It's intercepted radio chatter of the deceased, recorded via a de-encryption station. It's authentic enough.
Does he say he's gonna do it Soldier of the Apocalypse style? Yeah. That was practically his pickup line. Did he say whores a lot? Was he pretty much on the verge of doing it Kohoi style? He liked the way it sounded when he said it. As to Kohoi, he wasn't actually there. He didn't do a tour, or at least didn't tell me he did. Would have been overkill anyway. He lived his own little Kohoi. It wasn't his everything.
Yes, was he bragging?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure he did all those things, then integrated them into his idea of normalcy, to keep on living, until they just sort of turn into his, what's the word I'm looking for?
She's quite observant about the human character, trained to observe, even.
People who go to university know how to use words like internalize and integrate, officer. Now, what was that expression?
There's more to this. She has an index in her head of pathologies and how to exploit them. I can almost see her turn the pages.
Running joke. I was gonna say running joke. And it sounds like you didn't even get the good bits. Lely's punchlines got way, way funkier than that. He was like the Seminoles conflict, the Kohoi massacre, and the 36 famine in Yezut all rolled into one person, then cast in Orani's ceramic armor, which he wore in bed and in the shower. Afraid of what? That tape the Hardy Boys recorded? Your mother probably never told you this, but girls are evil. Had I the physical robustness and social support, I'd be in Kohoi. I would be tearing it up Soldier of the Apocalypse style.
Did he tell you he had actually done any of those things? He and Martinez, I mean?
No. We were too busy laying waste to our own nervous systems to direct any of the fury outward. He seemed happy, I guess. At ease. As much as a man like him could be.
There is a small measure of pride in her that she could quell the rage in such a being. What kind of man was he? Before you go, ask for details. She seems okay to talk about it.
Thank you for clearing that up, miss. Whenever you're ready. I'm interested to hear what Titus Hardy has to say now.
She takes a very small sip of her coffee and smiles.
Like, for example, his name?
Actually, officer, I didn't know his name. I just called him Lely.
A nickname?
I guess. He came from Lelystad. It's short for that. And it was his army name, apparently. He said his real name wasn't his. I tried to pry it out of him, but it was no use.
Lelystad. That's a good start. We have a few questions you can help us with. A few things a field autopsy alone can't answer.
The young woman cranes her neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the page the lieutenant passed to you. On it is a list of autopsy observations recorded neatly in blue ink. The last missing pieces of a puzzle of flesh.
In Oranje, officer. It's, I think municipality is the term. A nowhere town there.
The Lelystad municipality has few boroughs and even fewer cities. It's made of agricultural plots near the border of Gottwald. Executive summary: cows, silos, and wheat. Oranje? Oranje's map of waterways? This fits with his tattoo.
You were almost right, officer. That means his race was Occidental, not Mondial. I'll update the form.
Yes. We were compatriots.
Did that bring you together?
No. He was too old for that. And from another part of Oranjenrek. I didn't even understand his accent. What brought us together wasn't Oranje. It was bad habits.
No love for Mother Aranye. But wasn't he a soldier? This could be worth pursuing.
No. He left the National Service after they taught him to do what he did on Seminine. He wasn't the flag-waving kind. He was the making money, killing people kind. He was by no means a stupid man. A people person. A small platoon leader. Certainly not a patriot. There is nothing on Muindi. The old world is dead, and we both knew it. Maybe Orania did bring us together. In loathing. I love Revachol, though. I hope she loves me, too. He was 42.
42? Are you sure? I would have had him above 50.
He had many scars that made him appear older. But no. We even celebrated his birthday, like, some weeks ago. It was a funny 2 days. He had little reason to lie to me.
Looks like you were right, officer. It isn't. Police work is a cooperative sport.
Blue. Light blue. They were like little blue galaxies, you know? It was strange, seeing those eyes in his fucked up face. Pardon the swearing. I do him an injustice. He wasn't ugly. And he had a beautiful, soft voice. Very surprising, what with all the scarring. It was quite something, watching him speak.
He had a combat wound on his chin and mouth?
Yes. Severe. It made him look like half his face was cracking away in some strange smile. That and those eyes.
Ah, yes. His hair, if you can remember?
It was light brown, almost blonde. He darkened it with brilliantine, made it oily. Not nice to stroke. I couldn't convince him to leave it alone. Oh, that.
It's clear she liked it.
Sure, waterways. It was mostly for showing off to chicks, though. How? Imagine him lying in bed. Freakish musculature laid out on the sheets. Scarred, of course. Tattooed. The sheets are dirty for some reason.
Is this Orani's lit?
Yes. This is the very essence of Orani's lit. A moment's respite. Dark and hopeless as the struggle itself. He's smoking and drinking, of course. And his chest and shoulders and arms are studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them. Maybe even thousands. And the woman goes like, "What was this, baby?" And he says, "That was too hardcore. Don't ask me about that." So she goes, "Okay, but what's this, baby?" And he's like, "Saw some bat shit there. Killed some loincloths." And so it goes. Star after star. Port after port. Third world country after third world country. And he's done horrible things in every single one of them. Oh, yeah. No, thank you. I've seen enough of him dead. I can tell you what they meant without looking at them.
Go on.
He was a blue-eyed boy with thick arms, from a small town. He was also poor, and the government of Orania needed some people killed, so they turned him into a grotesque killer. For money. He went to Killer Academy in Vredefort. Then he killed some people in the Seminine Islands. And on other islands, too. All of the islands. After this, he came to Revachol and got killed himself. Change of topic, perhaps?
All right.
Coolly, gracefully, she pours herself more coffee. Wait, stop. That man, bloated beyond all recognition, was 42? Below the damage, the weeks of decomposition, all the swollen indignity of mortality, he was 42 years old? How old are you? That's where this is going. 45,000 liters of raw alcohol has left its disfigurements. What lies beneath, you wonder? You could ask either one of them.
Huh? How old? 58? He was deceased. He had been decomposing for a week. On the bright side, you've been getting a lot of exercise lately. I didn't say 62, I said 58.
Wait. This requires scientific measurements. To the laboratorium. This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass in an untarnished golden halo. Smooth as ice, there are spots of mud and rain on the outside, even smudges. But the surface of the window is clear from the inside. No chips, no hairline fractures. Following your lead, the lieutenant leans in closer to inspect the surface.
Looks like it, yes.
You know which window has not been recently replaced? Yes, that one. Cold wind is seeping in right now. Just one floor below you. Messing up your concentration here.
Stop distracting him! He has work to do! Plus, if I recall, the window has been giving him shit ever since he got here!
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and...
This is Precinct 57. How may I... Just a second, officer. Sylvie Malaika on the line for you, officer. Yes, hello? Oh, great. What else do you need, detective? Well, you tried to jam it down the toilet, sir, clogging it completely. After I had unclogged the toilet and retrieved the paperwork, I threw it out in the trash, thinking you didn't need it. I am sorry about that. Anything else, detective?
You hear the call breaking up on the other end of the radio, and then the already familiar voice.
Anything else I can help you with, officer? 57's over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers.
The clowns are still hanging around. What is it now? Anne. That fucking fucker. You're the worst cops in Revachol. I gave you gold on that tape.
That fucker wasn't aimed at you. It was at her.
Dark. Dark is when you start a goddamn death rock band. He said he'd rape her. What did she have to say then? Fine by her? This is what people are supposed to be like? Fucking whoop-de-doo.
Yes. In fact, I think she thought it was a little funny.
Funny? No good goddamn psycho whore.
Seems like they wanted to give Claudia a second chance to play along. She still didn't.
Alright. All fucking righty then. I guess it's good then. That fucking...
Please try to control yourself in the presence of visitors, Titus.
This is just perfect. Just fucking perfect. Any thoughts on this, lawmen?
You don't have to say everything out loud. Just mix and match.
Nah, I know her. She's just a girl. In over her head. Handled him? She got into some stupid shit with that guy. Shit we had to take care of.
Yes, we heard all about it, and the fact still stands. You were more disturbed by the tape than her.
I already told you. We fucking hanged him.
There's less gusto in his voice now. His men too are growing increasingly silent. The man is slowing down. Looks like a bad blood sugar crash. He can't keep track of all the variables anymore. Who could? It's getting harder and harder to perform one's part in this sordid play. All it takes is a nudge.
Come on, Titus. We know you didn't hang him. He was shot. I know you're tired. So am I. Why don't you just...
You know what? I am tired. I'm tired of you and the whore upstairs. Next time you see her, tell her Titus said, "Fuck off!" That lying, scamming. We're done. This is over. You understand? Your little investigation is over. Yeah.
On the floor, beer drips out of the can into a small puddle. No one does anything about it.
What is this quiet funeral shit? All we need is some beers in us. Bartender, 20 beers for the Dock Workers Union.
Why do we make it 40, huh? Why do we make it 100 beers? You're not loud enough.
100 beers? Now we're talking. Hoppity hop over here, cafeteria manager.
It's you again. What is it? It's you again. What is it?
Convince Titus he's being manipulated. You should know by now. Titus Hardy will never falter. Fat Angus, the powerful guy, Mr. All Muscle. The time has come. Put him in the pressure cooker. Just remember, it's about more than Glasia. It's about these men and Martinez, their district, their responsibility.
Huh?
He'll get it. Go on.
Got it. Kill you because they don't like you. All because...
Bring that up one more time, and you won't get to write that report.
Yes, I understand, Alain. That's your name, right, Alain? You'll kill us. That's what they do in the Wild North.
It wasn't that. It wasn't. We didn't shoot him.
That's it. That's the weak one. You flushed him out. Now go in for the...
Officer, you will be next if you don't shut up.
He's onto you. He knows what you're trying to do. Steel yourself. Push on. Just ignore Theo. The lieutenant has put down his notebook. His hand is resting on his holster. He gives you an imperceptible nod. What? What does that mean? Go for it. The lieutenant has his eyes set on the fat guy. Push Angus. We're almost there.
We didn't kill him. We didn't even hang him. He was dead when...
Shut up, Angus!
Fatty! Say one more thing to the cops and I'll...
Dennis, stand down, or I'll beat your head in. Theo, take your hand off the belt. This isn't 31. I've got this under control. Angie, where's your goddamn inhaler? You sound like you're dying.
I left it home. I can't get it. I'm too fucked. I'm sorry.
Why are you so fucking fat, Angus? Now it's all pointless. Because of you. You wasted my time. I told you, Titus. I told you just give her up.
Lizzie, your help is no longer needed here. Go tell Everard.
Fine. I'll tell him. After a long walk along the coast.
What just happened between these two? You're in. He's all yours. Questions? The lieutenant gives a smile only you can see. He nods.
You hanged the corpse to cover up the real cause of death, the bullet in his head.
Another nod.
'Cause the girls asked us to. They were in some shit.
Girls plural? There's another girl? 2 of them? Take note of this. They'll probably say more about her later.
Did she kill him?
Cop, I have no idea. The girl says she didn't.
He doesn't think she did. Or at least he hopes she didn't.
Classier came down. She seemed really out of it. Drugged up, even more than usual. Bug-eyed and gurning, you know? Not in a fun way. It looked like she'd redosed after something went down. I've seen that look before. She was scared. I knew someone had died. I've done this job for 10 years. I've seen it before. It's the politician in the motel room with the dead hooker scenario. Only in reverse.
Good analogy, boss.
You don't get to talk yet, Shanky. You're still on the bench. And you keep taking it easy too, Angus. We went upstairs. Sure as day the Merc was dead. And there was a bullet hole through the window. Fucking dirty sheets and bottles everywhere.
He means they'd been fucking?
Tibbs patched the window. And the corpse. We hanged. Nah, he's my brother. He's in the window replacement business.
Right now, he's grateful he hasn't gotten his brother into this mess.
You may have noticed our girl's in some shit of her own. They can't show up on police radar kind. There are people after her, from the old world, where she came from. They're powerful, connected to the Moral Intern. She's clearly afraid for her life. Says if she showed up in your systems, she'd be ghosted away.
That's all he knows. That's all she's told him.
And why would you help someone like that? By taking on a murder?
Why would I? I guess we abide all sorts of runaways and losers here. It's a Martinez thing. Not yet. Just some ideas. She says the shot came from outside, behind the window somewhere. So that's a clue. I'm thinking someone's past caught up with them. Either hers or his.
Hers, you mean?
I mean the people after Klausya. Maybe the shot missed. Maybe it was meant for her.
I like that. Been thinking the same thing myself.
My dude. One of those mercenary buddies of his could have done it. They got guns. Training. Years of bad blood, probably. Or it could have been someone else from Crenell. Tell you what I'd do. Check out the coast for vantage points. Maybe consult with a ballistics buddy of mine. That's what I'd do. If I wasn't too busy doing this clown dance with you.
He's calm now. Threw all that turmoil away and became himself again. These theories, not bad. Don't buy either one, but still, this guy's not as dumb as he looks.
In a manner of speaking.
Remember the two girls? He may be talking about the other one.
That's right. It was her idea to hang him. I liked it for political reasons. It sent a good message.
The big guy turns to Glenn, who's about to say something. The blonde shuts his mouth before a word escapes.
I'll say it again. All the Hardy Boys are right here, cop. That woman is just affiliated with the Hardy Boys. You don't know her, anyway. Nope. You're not getting to her. It's Klausya you want to talk to. You do that. Hey, cop. Before you go, Klausya, came to Martinez to hide. Many of us did. This is where you wash up when there's nowhere left to go. The Union takes you in. Now, she refused that protection. But that's right. If we didn't take care of the people who end up here, this place would just be a couple of ruins and some cargo containers.
We'll take that into account.
Hello again. Hello again.
The device is still warm from her touch and heavy as a brick from the batteries inside. The company logo, Omicron, adorns its yellow plastic cover. Inside, the tape is rolling. The girl looks at the device in your hands. She looks you in the eye, her pupils wide, surrounded by a ridiculous amount of makeup. The wind howls. She remains silent. It's real. Tell her.
What is? Okay, I'll stick to it.
Something changes between you two. She looks at you differently now, as an equal, a fellow human being.
So thanks, I guess, for the psych session. Maybe I can return it. What's been eating you, officer? Come on, I can tell. But, okay. Be a boyadero about it if you want to. What is it? Oh, really? Wow, social justice really matters that much to you? That's commendable. It really had you shaken up there. Are you sure that's it though? Yeah, man, they're pretty bad.
3.6 billion, not counting those in sale.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Are you sure you're not just hung up on some chick, though?
Perhaps.
Okay. Why'd you think that? There you have it then, chick trouble. Not political after all. Who was she? Really? You seem to be pretty upset about this chica. Are you sure you don't remember anything about her? Wow, man. That's some pretty strange shit. Are you sure the letters were for you? How come you don't remember, though? Is it like some selective memory thing? Man, when I get hurt, I just want to forget that shit, you know? That kind of selective memory. Yeah, or it might be that. This one time I did so much booze that I forgot too.
It's obvious she's done more than booze.
Or it might just be some psych bullshit, you know? Königstein wank. You know, the psych thing they've got going on there. Rich people like it. People in Königstein are mostly rich. Yeah, I'm sorry. Might be for the best to keep that shit forgotten, actually. Just my opinion. If it itches, don't scratch.
It's always good to see you.
Something in her demeanor has changed. She's tired, consigned to her fate, to being here with you and what's to come. Soft, light brown eyes look back at you, directly into the space behind your eye sockets. You see the smoke rise from between her painted red lips. She's beautiful. I have bad news for you. You know these guys? Who? Me? Yes, you. He's talking about you, you boring stiff. You too. Me? What did I do? I'm merely a master thespian. These guys are compromised. She's got them singing along to her tune. The little bleeps and bloops you trust for info, you can't trust them anymore. Believe it. There's no way of knowing. At the moment, I'm afraid it's best to assume. All of them. Bullshit, man. I ain't compromised. Especially that guy. That guy's the most compromised one in here. No fucking way, man. I just want a drag of that sweet menthol ziggy. Really? Quick, tell me what's under her jumpsuit. Glory, truth, softness. Protect her. She wants you. I take it back. He's got it pretty bad. But this next guy's on another level entirely. She likes you. The crown head is a boring condom. He's jealous. This is human nature. How it always does, through subtlety. There's nothing you can do about it. You are how you are, and she is how she is. Things will go as they do. No. It's better to know you're being played than to be played without knowing it, is it not? I think it's safe to assume, yes, Mr. Thespian here hasn't been speaking up. If he were, I suspect there would be paeans to her truthfulness. Like this. She is a lady, most fair and just. In his defense, to reduce him to such inadequacy, she probably had to employ half-truths more often than outright lies. That is correct. And omissions too. A little. They're all still of limited use, interpreting things to the best of their ability. Maybe they add flair or something. I wouldn't know. I don't add flair. But when it comes to assessments of character and factual accuracy, they are not to be trusted. Not with her. Don't be melodramatic. You can trust them. Just not with Miss Orange Disco Dancer here. You can't draw a sound conclusion. The one he usually does says, she may want to control the information rollout, not to become a suspect. She may have a past she's escaping, unrelated to this case. You doubt it's something truly insidious. See? It's oddly moderate, probably compromised. Don't worry, it's only been 4 or 5 seconds. You've got this. For a second, her face disappears from your cornea. Only a silvery negative remains. Still smiling, a tired smile.
Yeah? You tell me, officer. I've been trying to open it, in case the contamination gets to the roof and I have to move on. No luck. All right. I understand. I knew there was a chance you'd get them to tell you. It's what you do. You're the police. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for wasting your time.
If you knew we would find out eventually, why did you waste our time?
Because of the Hardys. I couldn't just dispense with them. They were only trying to help me. Out of the shit I'd gotten into.
Is she implying the Hardy Boys are the law?
I am not. There is more here, miss.
You're right. There's more. You answer to the coalition government, and by extension, the moral intern.
Briefly glancing over her shoulder to the sea, as she's done time and time again. A grand expanse of water reaches over the bay and to the horizon, wine dark in the evening light. The Pale, the Muindi Isola, the Occident, and then Oranje, the old, old world.
You share a database with them. You send people to their courts. Just business, but bad business for some people in the moral intern. If I show up in your records, officer, they will find me. They will...
What happens if they do?
They will kill me, sir. If you file my name, take me in for questioning, enter me into the moral intern mill. Well, then I'm fucked. For nothing. This murder didn't have anything to do with me.
Here we go. For once, you seem to have her off guard. Actually, this murder did have a little to do with her.
It's not nice, but it's not illegal. Not here in Ravishol, or even in Oranje.
What exactly did you do?
Industrial espionage. I joined a business collective with the intention of betraying them. I did my job well enough to be asked to do it again. With a bigger company. The kind you really, really don't fuck with. I took their ledgers, 2 decades worth of accounting.
I need the names of the companies involved and who hired you.
The job was Lou's-Duin County Savings Bank. They sound small, but they're part of the Lou-Scott conglomerate. That was the second job. The first was some printer company. You wouldn't know them.
But she really destroyed them. She still feels it.
As to who hired me for the job, I don't know. But they're after me too. Along with Lou-Scott and their friends in the MI. Once you're done in the competitive intelligence circuit, you don't have allies. You're radioactive.
Laws cap. These people engineer financial disasters in second world countries. The conglomerate also includes the Bank of Consecration, Airberg, and the popular Papalolo line of dairy products.
Sure, I'm not a war criminal, but it was bad. People lost their jobs. Good people too, not just C-suite. A lot of people got hurt, but that's just more of my shit you shouldn't have to deal with. You're solving a murder.
That can wait. Look into her eyes. There's more.
One of them killed themselves because of me. How do you deal with anything? It's all just... How do you do it? There you have it. The way of the warrior. We were there. Together. In bed, I mean. Okay. He was in a kneeling position. He had just entered me. I was on my back, looking at him. I heard the window behind me shatter, and I turned to look. There was a hole in the glass. I turned back to him. His eyes were looking through me, and his mouth was open. Dumb. I could see.
Her chest rises and falls with each word. She keeps herself together and says it.
I knew he was dead. Before he fell down on top of me.
You were right. He did enjoy the moment of his death.
He was heavy. I pushed him off and he fell to the floor. There. He only had his boots on. I bit the pillow, not to scream, then ran downstairs. I waited for the second shot to come. For me. I thought there would be one. It never came.
She's forgotten about her cigarette. The butt has burned right down to her fingernails.
So am I.
She throws it away and immediately proceeds to light another one.
What time was this? When did it happen? It would help us if you could be as precise as possible.
11:30 to 12:15. I don't know the exact time. Around midnight.
It's okay. Were you inebriated?
Not as much as usual. He'd done a line, plus other things. I was drinking.
Wait. Titus said she was gurning her jaw off, much more than usual.
Oh, yeah. I did one of his lines, just to clear my head.
Did you hear or see the shooter in the course of this?
No. Nothing. I was trapped. I was stuck in my room downstairs. I got some clothes on and crawled back up, drew the blinds. Blood was coming from his mouth. Not a lot. Just a little. He was still on the floor, slouched. I couldn't be there with him anymore, so I ran down and out of my room, into the hallway, down the stairs. I knew there would be people there.
Run, woman. Run past them and out into the streets where it's dark and people move. To the lorries at the intersection, as far as you can.
I already ran. I ran from an entire Isola. I can't run any further. Not with these people. This is as far as it gets. Sylvie was tending the bar. A lot of people were there. The Hardys were at the table in front of the stage. I think the Union box was full. Ruby was there too. They were having such a good time. I sat down and they all welcomed me. I didn't even have to say anything. Ruby knew something was wrong.
Ruby?
Ruby. You know, the leader.
The leader? Of what?
The Hardy Boys. Well, nominally, yes. Ruby's the one they go to when things happen, like things they need taken care of. She's the organizer.
This Ruby, in her phrasing, is entrusted with great power. She trusts her. So do the others.
Well, Ruby said let's talk upstairs. I showed her the room. I've known these people since December. They know my situation, that I can't leave a paper trail. Ruby was the first one I told. She said she'd take care of this. It's what she does, you know, take care of things. I helped her get the body to the bathroom. We used a belt to pull him up under the shower, to keep him upright.
To produce lividity, matching a hanging?
Yes.
We completely missed the tampering. Looks like you got there in time. What was this, 20 minutes after death?
About 20, yes. Ruby explained it would make the blood... You know what he does. Ruby went outside to talk to Titus and the boys. I was just looking at Lely in the bathroom. I had to put his clothes back on. His armor, too. It was tough, but I've seen him take it off and put it on many times. It took Ruby maybe half an hour to come back with Titus. I'd gotten him ready by then. They carried him out. I knew what they were going to do, make it look like a hanging. Ruby said they would. Ruby said to wait here. She also said I wouldn't see her for a while, that we should lay low or something, so I did. I don't know. I haven't seen her since.
We will need to take this question to the Hardy Boys.
Interesting. Why did this Ruby go through so much trouble to hide something someone else did? Look into this later. What are you doing? Coming up with a theory. She said Ruby knew something was wrong before she said anything. How come? It was loud downstairs. She couldn't have heard the shot. It is ominous. You already coming up with theories that put the blame on someone other than Glacia.
When he was shot? I may have. I don't know. I couldn't hear anything over the glass exploding. That's the first thing that went through my head when I heard the glass break. I thought they'd found me. They've killed him to punish me. All last week, I've tried not to talk to anyone or be seen with anyone so they wouldn't be hurt. I've come to understand, however, this is paranoia. What happened didn't have anything to do with me. Or I don't know anything anymore. All I do is wait here.
We can't go after Loose Cap. Not yet. There are other, saner leads.
I don't ask you to, Lieutenant. If there's one thing I know, it's that you'll get nothing from there. Because I'm an idiot.
Which is an indicator of truth. Idiot. She's nothing of the sort.
You have to understand, the people around here, no one was making the call, and he kept rotting. And then they picked his clothes off, and that little fucker threw stones at him. He kept throwing stones at him for 3 days. I could hear the thud, thud. So I called you. I hope with all my heart it's not the last thing I do in Ravachol.
She definitely called the cops. That was task complete. It could not have been a lie. That is impossible. Oh God, that was a lie too. Who made the call then? She did, of course. Don't be paranoid, man. It's unbecoming of a police officer, and it makes you sweat.
Last week, Angus and Titus's brother, I think he's called Tibbs, took care of it.
You should have another look at that window after this. Reconstruct the scene. It's right there. Yes, you see the glass sparkling out of the corner of your eye. She nods, silently. She doesn't even smoke. Just picks up the cold coffee and holds it in her hands. He's thinking, are we done here? Or should we arrest her? She's a flight risk and she lied to you. She should be taken into custody. No, that won't be necessary. Just leave her alone. She's been through enough. She doesn't need this police brutality. This guy won't budge. You have to wake Multiface up, forcefully, if you want to continue pushing her. This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass in an untarnished golden halo. Golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed. Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth, a ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain. From the roof outside, location A prime. The glass fractures around the bullet hole, shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back. The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. Death comes faster than the realization. The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions, all on the roof at first. The shot could have come from any of them. This is composite location A prime, most likely of the origin points. There could have been. Then the rain and slush and wind washed it away. This was more than a week ago. 72%, with an antique weapon that fires military-grade ammunition, a Belma-grave rifle, for example. This is a good short distance, but not too short. The perpetrator aimed with their back against the railing, or possibly kneeling for precision. This would explain why it only took them one shot. The lights were on in here. Outside it was dark. It was like shooting fish in an aquarium, a well-lit aquarium. The victim opened his mouth to let the bullet in. Neither of them would have seen anything outside in the darkness, too busy with their own bodies. None that you've found thus far, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. That's a 28%, yes. In this model, the shot could have come from a greater distance. Nothing excludes the possibility. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinaise? According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. Let's call them B prime. B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet detective. There may be smaller points in between, but those are too fine to zoom in on. "700 meters away, the likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to take wind direction into account. 1.2 kilometers away, the least likely of these positions, let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it, possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched. 1 kilometer away, an unlikely point of origin. Beyond the docks somewhere, on an islet in the Bay of Martinaise perhaps. There are islets there, badly charted as they may be. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain 10 and 33A. The angle would have been extreme and access to the islets is questionable.
From where, precisely? I see you have given this a lot of thought. Are those the locations you've singled out in addition to the roof? And what is the likelihood, in your opinion, that it came from a further distance? Okay, well, we should see if there is gunshot residue or sniper nests if we go down the coast. Rule these spots out one by one. It would be the diligent thing to do. Until then, personally, I'm going with the roof version. A simple hypothesis can be wrong, but it's something to build on.
It's you again. What is it? Why? You're cuckoo, cop. I'm the only man responsible for this unit. Get with it, or fuck off.
How many times must I tell you?
Yeah, fuck off!
Sounds like you're making her a suspect in this. Not on my watch, you're not. Ruby's one of us. We're not gonna throw her under your moral intern steamroller. Fuck that shit.
And fuck you too, moral
Ruby is missing. If you hide from the police in a murder investigation, you become a suspect. You know how it works, guys.
That's nothing. That's just legalese. You don't even have a sound theory. I don't want to be rude, but we're trying to get some R&R here. Think you could fuck off now?
I think we'll keep sticking around, Titus. You'll be surprised at how quickly a theory presents itself if you keep looking.
From the corner of your eye, you see a little bird fly into the bush, right behind the window, behind Titus's back.
It's you again. What is it?
A sudden flash of lightning in your neocortex. The hostel cafeteria is lit by its airy blaze. Floor plans, bullet trajectories, webs of human emotion, all channeled into a single thought.
Because she was here, all night, with us.
He's cobbling together shit so he can put her away. It's Cop 101.
She was here all night? 11:30 to 12:15? She was here during all that time?
Yeah, with us, drinking, near the stage there.
No. All right, she took a fucking leak, okay? For one moment. Maybe went out, too. She has a complex operation to run from her lorry. She's a busy girl. Always has been.
This complex operation is probably something illegal.
Just 'cause she was gone for 5 minutes doesn't mean she magically got to the roof and shot the merc. I've been through this. It's not plausible.
He's been through it. That means he's suspected her too. All right, we're in. We got Ruby unaccounted for sometime during the window. This was crucial. Now let's place her on that roof.
Why not? You can't draw a straight line into Clausia's window from any of the surrounding buildings. Not from what I know about Martinez. Maybe from the coast. But like I said, I've been too busy dealing with you idiots. So no, I don't think it was a sniper. It was close up. 72%. There's a percentage and all. Where'd you get it from? Your guys in the lab? No, you can't. I know what you did here on the weekend. People talk. And what they say doesn't sound like a science cop. You're a madman.
Those numbers were an ass pull, man.
Yeah, and they don't put hair on the roof either. It's just mambo jumbo. He hasn't got shit.
Nah, the only way up there is through Clausia's room. What do you mean? We've only been drinking here for what? 6 years? How much do we know?
Been thinking of getting wilding in racks. That is on my ass, boss.
There you go. Tatted on his ass. We know the place.
No, but that doesn't prove anything.
It's just 2 dolls. We're not giving you Ruby for that. She's one of us.
What if those 2 doors are connected, Eugene? Is that your name, Eugene? If they are connected, she could have gone to the kitchen, gone up, shot him on the roof, then come down. All in 5 minutes. How about that?
Yes, she could have. This is one long shot. All right, I'll play alone. Those 2 doors of yours, the winch connects them with some kind of dumb waiter.
What winch? Where's the winch?
On the side of the building. You can see it from the harbor. You want to be a lieutenant, you gotta keep your eyes peeled.
I've seen the winch.
Fuck off, man.
Firmly. Try shit on a stick. All you've established is a possible route to the roof that you haven't found. And even then, a route doesn't put that bullet in the Burke's head. A gun does that, and Ruby doesn't carry one.
Phase 2. Murder weapon. Get a gun in her hand. If not that, then at least a shadow of a doubt. In the shape of a gun.
So it had to come from a breech-loading rifle. Military grade. Not even you militia monkeys have those. This goes against your short-range theory. If the murder weapon was military grade, how did Ruby get it? Cobb. That's exactly what it means.
That wasn't strong.
That looks antique. A Belle McGrave. It's inoperable. Where'd you get it?
20, maybe 30 rifles, Titus. Also broken, but still, there were too many. And there must be other caches too.
God damn it. We need to close that dump down for good.
That's a goddamn breech loader, too. Find one that works, and you got a military-grade weapon that shoots jacketed ammunition.
He sees it. This is coming together. He must. Time to really close the deal. Show them the bullet. The blonde man looks at the mushroomed deathbringer in the evidence bag and says,
Yeah, the bitch is jacketed all right. 4mm too.
Whoa.
Well, goddamn. It's not proof, but it's a possible murder weapon. Close to her. Too damn close. You have been thorough. I'll give you that. Yes, goddammit, I know what a 72% chance means. It means there's a 28% chance it isn't that. And 28% is no small chance either.
Just making sure we are on the same page. It doesn't all fit. We are just sharing info, candidly.
All right, keep talking. I'm getting a bit curious about some things myself.
Pete, we're not seriously considering it, are we? Ruby wouldn't do this. Why would she do something like this?
Phase 3. Motive. The last component.
And I suppose you have a theory on that.
Think about it. Why go through all that effort? It was her idea, wasn't it? The hanging. You went along, but she suggested it.
She had, like, a fully formed plan and shit. Right when she came back downstairs.
Really, Shanks? Claudia wanted to talk to another girl, that's all. She was just the first one up there. I could have come up with that plan if I'd have been first.
Time for a logics demonstration. He scoffs.
Think. You kill him. Get up there. Shoot him. Get down.
The man is silent.
If she used us to cover her own shit up, well, that's a serious violation of the Hardy Code, boss.
Which is why she didn't. She would never do that. Why aren't more of you defending her? This is fucking stupid, Titus.
Glenn, I thought the same thing when she skipped town and left us in this shit.
Oh, so he didn't rule her out completely. And she skipped town. This is good.
There's no fucking leadership challenge. Just when I thought you were taking this seriously, cop, you put your head in your ass.
Man, now he's just throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks.
Okay. We ruled out infighting. That's how this works, by exclusion. Remember, all we need to do is rule Ruby out too. That's all this is.
There's a bit of truth in there for Titus to react so brashly. He does not like his authority questioned. Silence. He looks around the room. The old man in the corner nods. A very small nod, and a trickle of tobacco spit on his lip. This is the only option he cares for.
Yeah, I see it. There's one more thing I've been wondering about, ever since you asked me where she is. Add it to your list of suspicions, if you want. I don't know where she went. She just got up and left. Got real scared, too. Wouldn't tell me where. However hard I asked. Want to know why? She was afraid I would tell you. Maybe she was right. By now, I probably would.
She knew there's evidence on her, and she knew we'd find it. This is typical suspect behavior, why fleeing is always incriminatory.
Perhaps. Ask her if you find her. It won't be easy, though. She made sure of that. Friday afternoon, when you first arrived, I got word the RCM was in town. Then she came in to see me. Told me she was leaving. That's when we had our little conversation. I told you. You. No, you. As in the cop with the sideburns and the disco clothes.
And a hole in his heart. That first.
Why not? You suck on that gun like someone tore you a brand new asshole. Sure. Normal. You know, when I first saw you limp in here, I thought she was paranoid or sniffing her own supply. But now I'm not so sure. She said you have a funny taste in clothes and that you won't stop until you have something on her. She said she's heard of you from Jamrock, that you're a human can opener, that you play suspects against each other, open them up like cans.
Fucking hell. Titus, did he just...
Open Angus up like a can? Yes, he did. Now, we can whine about it, whack him, or we can go on with our lives. I'm having a go on with our lives kind of day, Al. How about you?
It's not an actual question. Silence. He nods.
You are insistent.
Yeah, there was something else. She wouldn't tell me, though. I could see she wanted to. It was burning on her lips. This caught Titus. This caught he. But she was too scared. She's not far. We know that much. She didn't take her lorry, so she's on foot.
Good fucking luck, man. She knows this place like the back of her hand. You'll never find her.
Yeah, Al, and we won't either.
She's not really a hardy candidate anymore, is she?
She's not, Glenn. A little. On the coast.
Where have you looked for her, more precisely?
More precisely, on the coast, past the waterlog. She's not here, so I'm thinking she's there.
Who's doing this looking? They're all here.
Lizzie needed some air. You're a smart cop, but you're a stupid person. No one goes to tell Airflord anything. If he has to know, he has to know fast.
It's called a radio, you believe. The gardener may have played you a game when she stormed out. She has her own plan.
Sure, there are some shithouses there, a cinderblock town. Fisherfolk there refuse to unionize, so that's one place we haven't looked. I hear they have a shack where junkies sometimes crash. Time for you to step up.
We will start there. One more question. What does Ruby look like?
Boyish. Hair's red. Dyed. She looks like a Lowry man. It'll have to.
His grip is firm and reassuring, like holding a piece of unpolished granite. Not just granite, tightly packed RCM Sergeant material. No, he already is a sergeant. That's what you're feeling. He just wasn't sure what you are. You think you have a pretty hot suspect right now, don't you? That ruby of yours? Notice how it came together without casting too much suspicion on Classier. It was nice and ruby-centric in the end. Anything strike you a bit off about this mishmash? Good point. It is rather rare these days, but do continue. Notice how this hasn't come up at all. Even Hardy and his boys didn't mention it. Neither did you. Absolutely. It could have come from anywhere, but you're suddenly so certain it came from the roof behind the window. True. Strange how you conducted the whole advanced ballistics analysis and then hand-waved it? That's right. Finish thought. Just finish it and conveniently go on. She's watching you leave right now, you know that. Free as a bird on that roof, lighting up a cigarette and thinking, am I glad Ruby's in this shit and not me? Don't listen to this guy. The theory was solid. He's just jealous. Move on. It's no use harassing her further. This door is made of metal and appears to be no one answered.
Let's go.
As you approach the metal grill, you can hear several voices having what appears to be an animated discussion. This must be it. Beyond this door lies the beating heart of radical communism in Martinez. Somehow, the night air softens the smell of trash and sea brine. As the breeze pulls through the canvas like a shuttle through a loom, you catch a hint of something unexpected, something earthy, warm, and burnt. The acrid smell of failure. No, that's just slightly burnt coffee, a smell you would recognize anywhere.
Just look at these pigs sniffing about after hours. Must have slipped my mind. You know how it goes.
The metal grill is cool to the touch. You notice the lieutenant is looking uncustomarily anxious. His posture is rigid. His right hand hovers near the zipper of his jacket.
Oh, I'm fine. I was practically born to infiltrate underground communist cells. Which is just to say, we should be prepared for any eventuality.
You can make out at least 2 separate voices. 2 voices, both male, approximately early 20s.
Careful with those now. I have it. It's going to work. I can feel it.
The clang of metal reverberates all along the scaffolding. The voices coming from the other side fall silent.
Who's there? Is that you, Maurice? Who said communist? Did we say communist? Get out of here.
For a moment, silence.
What's the passphrase?
There's no response. You begin to wonder whether they've slipped out some back way. No, they're still there. You can feel them back there.
All right. The key's taped to the back of the door frame. Just make sure you put it back when you're done, or we'll all be locked out. And do watch the concrete. It just kind of falls away, in places.
Charmant. After you, detective.
Have fun at your underground meeting, pig. Hope it's a blast.
The 2 young men are either oblivious to or ignoring your entrance. Their attentions are fixed on whatever it is they're stacking in the middle of the floor. Matchboxes, it appears.
I think it's holding, Alexis.
It is. It's holding.
It's definitely not holding. Those matchboxes are stacked so haphazardly, it's like they want them to collapse.
Careful, careful. Damn, hardly any difference. You two, you are late.
They should know the meeting starts at 10 p.m. sharp.
One leader and one follower. The most ancient power dynamic. Don't let them see you flustered, sire. Play along.
That's the whole point, of course. We can't just have anybody waltzing in here. Martinez is crawling with reactionary infiltrators. There are RCM spies, for one. Just recently, someone even broke into my apartment, if you can believe it. To say nothing of Gotwaldians and iconoclasts.
The young man's companion
reflexively snorts at the mention of Gutvalians and iconoclasts.
We all have to take precautions, especially during these delicate times. What matters is that you've made it, and that you've done the reading.
Uh-oh. No one said anything about reading. You'll just have to win this one.
No, Detective. The only reading I've been doing is right here.
He seems to be wagging the notebook at you, as though he suspects you may have forgotten why you're here.
I have not had time to seek out pretentious communist book clubs, nor have I done their reading.
It doesn't sound like they've done the reading, Steban.
Well, this is getting awkward. I'm not sure what you're expecting to find here then.
There's profound consternation in his voice. You suspect it's about something bigger than your not having done the reading.
Maybe they can explain themselves.
The young man frowns at the little pile of boxes on the floor.
Nothing, just messing around until the meeting started.
They're watching those matchboxes awfully intently for two guys who are just messing around. It's almost as though they were trying to create the most unstable structure they could, with predictable results.
In the most generous sense, I would say we're cultivating revolutionary consciousness.
Yes, that's probably the best way to describe it.
But more specifically, we are running a reading group. The most rigorous and theoretically advanced materialist reading group in Martinaise.
Comrade Steban is a great discussion leader, one of the best at the university.
It's obvious they take this group of theirs extremely seriously. Whatever you do, don't compare it to a common book club.
That's our whole thing. The world is so shallow, all noise and repetition. We're interested in genuinely radical critique.
Precisely. We are not interested in senseless parroting. We like to read critically.
Within the contours of Mazovian historical materialism, of course.
Huh. As though you can call that pablum teaching.
One thing you learn quickly at university is that you're not going to find a real education in any lecture hall or discussion seminar.
We are post-attendance, basically.
Exactly. The only worthwhile part of the so-called École Normale de Revachol is the library. That's where we've made our greatest critical strides. We study all the foundational texts of Mazovian theory, of course. Just last week we finished the second volume of Puncher and Watman's Innocence of Capital.
Truly extraordinary.
And before that we spent 6 weeks on State and Plasm.
For some reason, the word plasm catches in your ear like a piece of old wax. Uh-oh. You can feel your attention span rapidly deteriorating.
We've also read Wertmüller's The Megastructure of History, and before that, Real and Reality.
Communist theorists love puns, in case that wasn't obvious.
Hablars une paix infernale.
The original Fisdale translation, not that worded-down revisionist garbage.
These two deserve the Order of Honor for bullshitting. There's no way they've actually read all this stuff.
Obviously.
But, of course, our special emphasis is on the theories of Ignace Nilsson and his followers, especially the inframaterialists. You're not familiar with him? It's pretty advanced stuff. You may not be ready for it yet, gendarme. Only Krasmazov's most trusted lieutenant, the evangelist of the revolution, and the founding father of the People's Republic of Samara.
It's hard to overstate how unimpressed he is that you've never heard of this world historical individual.
He also happens to be the greatest communist theorist after Mazov himself. It was Nielsen who first postulated the existence of ideological plasm, which forms the basis of inframaterialist theory.
Those words again. You've got to find out what this inframaterialist stuff is all about. Whatever it is, one thing's perfectly clear. These young students have a much deeper understanding of communism than you do. You could learn a thing or two from them. If you can convince them you're one of them. The young man sighs. His companion looks about furtively.
What do you mean? This is the reading group. We're in something of a rebuilding phase.
Some of our former comrades didn't have the ideological fortitude our work demands.
Intellectual attrition is maybe the best way to describe it. Felix said he couldn't keep up with the reading on top of his classwork. And Susanna wanted to read text other than Mazovian theory. Like novels, if you can believe it.
Imagine the audacity of wanting to read a novel in a reading group.
See? Even the gendarme gets it.
We've tried recruiting new members, but unfortunately the current intellectual climate is pretty hostile to inframaterialist thought. These days, if you're on the left, the ascendant schools are the Gottwaldians and their iconoclasts.
Don't forget about Maurice and the turnips.
Right. Then there was the whole turnip debacle. They're the most depressing school of communism. They love writing long books with a patina of Mazovian theory to cover up their cheap psychologizing.
A gang of cheap psychologists and intellectual midgets. Typical Gottwalders, in other words.
It's okay for Uli to say that, because his dad is from Gottwald. The Gottwald school believe that intellectuals as a class are incapable of sparking revolutionary change. So all they can do is critique capitalism from inside itself.
In other words, they have lost faith in their own relevance.
That's why they spend all their time smoking cigarettes and writing long works of criticism that make you want to commit suicide. If it were, they wouldn't keep committing suicide. You see, the Gottwald school look like communists. They talk like communists. But scratch the patina and you'll see beneath that they're just depressed liberals who've read too many books. For starters, they love talking about beans. That's right. Iconoclasts are obsessed with beans. They love thinking about beans. They love counting beans. But most of all, they love building models to predict how many beans there'll be in the future.
Nota bene, iconoclast is an extra pejorative form of the already pejorative name, Mazovian economists, a moderate school of Mazovianism which advocates the gradual transition to communism through carefully managed economic modernization rather than violent social revolution.
They're by far the most bean-centric school of communism.
Ah yes, the much maligned bean counters, ensconced in their think tanks and high-rises, believing they can save the world through a series of incremental, assiduously technocratic reforms.
See? You're already falling for that scarcity logic. You start off assuming there aren't enough beans to go around. So naturally you want to cut the bean rations in half. And next thing you know, there are budget cuts, so now we've got to cut the bean rations in half again. You see, iconoclasts claim to be communists, but in reality they're just liberals with hard-ons for spreadsheets. Of course not. The only people who actually call themselves liberals are mouth-foaming reactionaries.
Basically indistinguishable from fascists. You'd need an X-ray machine to tell the difference.
Cindy is... how to describe her role?
Something of an ideological auxiliary, perhaps.
Yes, that's exactly how I would put it. And naturally, we support her radical counter-liberal aesthetics.
But she refuses to submit an essay, so we can't call her a member of the group per se.
That doesn't stop her from using the room for studio space, of course. It's an unfortunate story. You see, our ex-comrade Maurice is something of an economist.
He's studying macro and microeconomics.
Well, a real intellectual, it sounds like.
Right. So a few weeks ago we were discussing the extra physical capabilities of the revolutionary state. And Maurice said, what were his exact words, Ulexis?
It was unbelievable. He said, turnips don't care if they are grown by communists, moralists, or Vulcan. They grow just the same.
Just a minute. Steban, Ulixis, why do those names ring the faintest of bells? Probably because they're the real names of Nazteb and Exilus, the authors of that so-called essay about Tip-Top Tournay you read in La Fumée. You should get to the bottom of this when you have the chance.
Basically, he was rejecting the whole foundation of inframaterialist theory.
What is this inframaterialist business they keep blathering about? You've never heard of anything like it.
Simply that under suitably revolutionary conditions, crop yields naturally increase relative to non-revolutionary crops, which Morris somehow has the gall to deny.
Susanna said that he has been hanging out with some non-communists lately.
For us, the question boiled down to, if you don't even accept the basic ideas of Nielsen and inframaterialist theory, why are you in the reading group? Well, it wasn't so much that he was expelled.
He just quit coming. We haven't seen him around for weeks.
Go ahead. I don't think so. Unless you've been hanging around the Cultural Studies faculty at the École Normale de Revachol.
Perhaps he subscribes to La Fumée.
That's sarcasm. He does not expect you to subscribe to radical communist periodicals.
You've read our article.
That I did not expect.
Well, don't keep us on tenterhooks. What did you think of the essay?
The delicate egos on these boys. Even though you're just some cop, they're desperate for your approval. Hey, you're not just some cop. You've got highly developed critical faculties. Now's your chance to show them off.
Well, of course that's just an initial foray into the subject. We're hoping to return to it for a more substantial treatment next term. In any case, I'm glad our piece found its audience. That's always the hope with these things, you know. We typically only accept new members once per semester. There's this whole process with essays and presentations on assigned topics. But given that we have some extra seating at the moment, I guess we could be convinced to expedite an application or two.
Steban, you can't be serious. For these gendarmes?
I am serious. As materialists, we've got to adapt to conditions as they are. Besides, he'll still need to pass the interview portion of the entrance process. Assuming he's even still interested, that is. Clinching? No. We're not an operational cell.
We think of ourselves as more of an intellectual vanguard.
Our stance? What? Does he want to know if the SRV has established a party line on the lynchings in Martinez?
The SRV
refers to the People's Republic of Samara, established as a socialist utopia by survivors of the revolution. It has since degenerated into a bureaucratic worker state under the decades-long rule of President Sapormat Sport Kelesinski.
Though historically speaking, the SRV has supported direct action against right-wing paramilitary squads, especially when they are doing the Indo-Tribe's dirty work.
Good point. So as a provisional matter, I can say we support it.
Are they being sarcastic? You feel like you're caught in some elaborate joke labyrinth, but it's impossible to see your way through. It's always that way. Beneath the crust of irony, there's a molten sincerity that threatens to erupt forth. You may witness it yet.
No, we're an independent organization. We acknowledge and respect the union's efforts, but our interests are more theoretical than Mr. Clare's.
He speaks the truth.
That's easy. Crime is simply the inevitable expression of the injustice and incoherence embedded within capitalism itself. It's a symptom, in other words, not a cause.
His companion can barely suppress a yawn.
No, unfortunately, the communards were hunted down and killed nearly to a man. All that's left of them are bones and old rifles.
His companion's eyes widen as you hold up the ancient weapon.
Yes, like that one. I wonder how many of these are still lying around in cellars or sealed up behind the masonry. Can I hold it? Of course. What would I even do with it?
He doesn't mean to show it, but the disappointment is plainly written across his face.
Sure. We're here most every night. Maybe we'll catch you again.
Sleep well, gendarme.
The gendarme returns. What do you need?
What's there to be scared of? You've really been cracking the books these last few days. You can go toe to intellectual toe with any reading group in Martinez. You've spent a not inconsiderable amount of time arranging the works in your mental library by theme and period. All the ideas and references you'll need are ready at hand. Now, chin up. You've got this.
Oh, you want to start now? Sure, we can manage that.
You've caught him off balance. The momentum is already in your favor.
Go ahead and take a seat. Since we haven't had time to prepare an exhaustive questionnaire, I think we can keep this interview more freeform. Why don't you tell us a bit about the books you're interested in, and we'll just see where the conversation goes. Absolutely. It's the only proper foundation to develop a real understanding of events. Don't think I'm familiar with it. Give us a quick summary, if you don't mind.
This is a good start. They're starting to loosen up. You feel relaxed,
and in control. You quickly gloss Lopez de Fuego's essential argument, peppering it with your own commentary and asides. Like a river emptying into the sea, the discussion winds its way toward the character of the Innocence herself.
But then, any critical account of Dolores Day's reign has to seriously reckon with her atrocities in Margretania and La Vuelta during the Mesque secession, don't you think? I'll say the beginnings are very delicate things. That makes it all the more important that you start with the right books.
If he wants a real critical history, he's got to read on the material conditions of the Mirovan Boilermakers.
He's so good. Brutally revelatory.
These kids are eating out of your hand, practically. Another quarter of an hour disappears. The questions come rapid fire, but you have an answer for every one. Now you can sense things starting to slow down. The interview must be reaching an inflection point.
But to Comrade Ulix's point, isn't there value in reading really difficult books, just for the sheer challenge of it? Okay, we'll bite. What sort of stories are we talking about?
A real-life procedural, complete with gory details.
You've got our attention. Let's see where this goes.
Yes, I'm rather curious myself.
Now you're getting somewhere. These boys aren't even bothering to contain their interest. They want to see how you weave the threads of this story together. Even the lieutenant seems engrossed, despite your revealing details of an RCM investigation.
Okay, but when you say he spoke to you, you mean metaphorically, right?
The work he did on the autopsy was quite good, I can confirm.
So have you figured out his real identity?
Another quarter of an hour disappears. The conversation bounces back and forth. Whatever their pretensions, it's clear these two have been craving something real. Now you can sense things starting to slow down. Time to wrap this tale up.
And we still don't know what happened to the rest of his armor.
It will turn up, I'm sure. In a way, it wants to be found.
I suppose we'll have to leave it there. But listen, gendarme. We could use someone with your breadth of expertise. With just a little more theoretical background, I think you'll be able to make some real contributions.
Yes, I would say he's got serious potential at least.
And with that, welcome to the most ideologically advanced materialist reading group in Martinez. Here's your first assignment. It's an overview of inframaterialist theory. A little basic, as you'll see, but one has to start somewhere. Come back when you're done. We'll be here pretty much every night after 10 p.m. Do be sure to take your time with the reading. We'll be eager to hear your thoughts.
Hello again, officers.
It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day. It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
It's getting cold. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. It belongs in the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life for our species. Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume le Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit somewhere in Revachol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression. Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains. There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression. Looking good on you, or anyone. 2 decades, if the calendar is to be trusted. Humanity has run aground in that time. It's a different world now. The expression is a relic. You have some understanding of the near history of disco, plus the trivia you've picked up along the way. Episodic memory, however, remains in the dark. It may never return. You should prepare yourself for that. The click is used to spur on a horse. It also features heavily in Guillaume le Million's regional mega hit, Don't Worry, Your Pretty Little Head. Sometimes you like to add finger pistols to the mix, because, unlike Guillaume le Million, you are a police officer. It's your nifty little way to say, I'm armed and dangerous. It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then grow distant to your ear. In the quiet hum of the organic heater, you fall asleep.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you. It digs into your brain.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped anyone lately? Saved anyone lately? Murdered anyone lately?
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people and then forgets about it.
Hear that? Iceman wants to sleep. He doesn't care about killing people. That's nothing to him. Black water under the bridge. The thing he's really scared of is much, much worse than that.
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad.
They're right. This is their function. To keep you from it.
We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from the last dream. The worst of them all.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
In hell, an ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later, in front of the video rental, there is a warm breath on your face again. Everything is okay again.
Everything is so okay. Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the church.